Hey friends, welcome back to the channel with more Squid Game. This is episode 2, Hell, and I was worried each episode title would be the name of the game they'd be playing, and luckily that's not the case here. I'd rather find out throughout the episode on my own, but wow, what an episode last time. So many interesting themes being explored, and these high-stakes life or death games are extremely interesting to watch for sure. Last time around, our main character, Gi-hoon, barely survived. We'll see if he makes some friends and allies this time around. He interacted with Cho Sung-woo last time. There was the man who saved him, held on for dear life. Maybe he even patches things up with 67, the woman who stole his money from him. But they reserved an option for these participants to back out of this game as well. Majority rules, we'll see how all this turns out. Anyway, leave a like, really helps out the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss new episodes. Hit the bell. We're doing 2 episodes a week on YouTube. Full reactions and early reactions are available on Patreon. Episode 3 is up there already, so check that out in the link in the description below. Let's get started. That looks a lot like the box that Gi-hoon gave to his daughter with the gun in it. Oh, he's still alive? And... wow. Wow.
고맙다. 고마워요. 두 사람 덕에 살았어요.
456명 중에 255명이 탈락하여
They're
첫
all
번째 게임을 금하신 참가자는 201명입니다.
돈 꼭 갚을게요. 꼭 갚을게요. 못지어서 출생
Holy crap.
못했는데요.
뭔가 오해가 있는 것 같습니다. 저희는 여러분을 해치거나 돈을 받아내려는 게 아닙니다.
정이라도 해서 여기로 찾아올 거야.
Where are your phones right now? Ooh. Yeah, that's what the soldiers are there for.
동의서 제3항 참가자 과반수가 동의를 하면 게임은 중단된다.
There we go. This has to be overwhelming,
그럼
right?
투표에 앞서 첫 번째 게임에서 적립된
Oh.
상금을
Oh, of course.
공개하겠습니다.
Of course. Dangle the carrot. Dangle the frickin' carrot. How much is that? Would there be a time when I went for this?
참가자 한 명당 걸려 있는 상금 액수 1억. 따라서 255억의 상금이
25.5 billion?
통해 적립되었습니다. 총 상금은 456억.
Does that mean all of them are gonna die?
그럼 지금부터 투표는 여러분 가슴에 있는 번호의 역순으로 하겠습니다. 456번 투표해 주세요.
Old man is last. There was a time I'd go. I'd stay. Are we really gonna go to 100 and let the old man decide? I'm sorry, if there are 50 people who don't want to play, you're risking their lives by forcing them to stay. Oof.
미친 거 아니야? 이 짓을 계속 하자는 거야 지금?
해야지 그럼. 나가면 뭐가 달라? 어차피 나가면 지옥이야 이 씨발.
Yeah.
그래. 여기서 뭐라도 해보다 죽을 겁니다. 이 새끼야. 죽으려면 너 혼자 죽어 이 새끼야. 야 이거.
를 방해하는 어떠한 행위도 용납하지 않겠습니다.
Oh, really? That surprised me. Damn it. Old man.
이제
Old man.
마지막입니다.
Oh, damn.
여러분의 다수가 게임의 재개를 원하시면 언제든 게임을 다시
Oh,
시작하겠습니다.
jeez. Anytime? And everybody else is going to be dragged back into it? Oh, that is screwed up. You're just going to leave him there?
야, 너 뭐 하는 거야? 나 풀어주고 가야지.
돈 내놓으라고 나한테 뭐라고 할 거잖아.
알았어. 돈 달라는 소리 안 할 테니까 이거나 좀 빨리 풀어줘.
I don't believe him.
우리 엄마.
Still don't believe him.
너 이리 와. 내돈 내놔.
Oh my god.
내돈 내.
아저씨 엄마 참 불쌍하다.
차비는 있어요?
걸어가요.
Walk.
여기서 안산까지 걸어서 기다렸다가 버스 타고 가요.
나 돈 없어요. 돈 못 갚아요.
갚으라고 안 할 테니까 그냥 가지고 가요.
Aww. He saw a kind-hearted man save his friend's life.
지금 사태의 심각성을 아직 잘 이해 못하시는 것 같은데요.
They're not gonna believe this, are they?
여기로 준 명함이니까 여기로 전화해 보면 될 거 아니야.
This phone number has been disconnected.
게임을 하고 싶으면 혼자 PC방에 가. 이 변태 새끼야.
Don't try that again.
지금 하신 번호는 없는
Oh.
번호입니다.
He sees it.
나왔어요.
Did they mess with the lives of everybody
문다 열어놓고
to get them to come back?
다시 벌면 되지. 엄마한테 가서 다 말씀드리고 새로 시작해.
다시 벌어 60억을.
60억? 아니 6억이라며.
주식은 그렇게 크지 않고 선물을 했어.
선물?
He shorted GameStop.
그냥 개인 파산 신청 같은 거 그런 거 하면 안 되나?
그거 말고 어머니 것까지 다 들어갔어.
Ooh,
집이랑
that's fucked.
예?
Oh, oh no.
당뇨입니다.
당뇨병.
치료만 하면 되는 거죠?
최악의 경우엔 수술로 발을 절단해야 될 수도 있습니다.
Healthcare is free in South Korea, right? Just everywhere besides the United States?
너 하루 병원 입원한 값하고
Oh,
약값하고 얼마인지는 알아?
아, 보험 있잖아 보험.
she stopped
네
paying.
기억 안 나나?
Fuck.
그거 벌써 해제해가 다 써버렸잖아.
Ah,
제발 좀 정신 좀 차리래.
damn.
내 돈 가져올게. 내 돈 가져오면 될 거 아니야?
He's the one to change his mind. Dead fish. Same looking box. Is it the card? It's the card.
엄마 금방 데리고 온다며. 한 달만 있다가 엄마 오면 나같이 살 거라며. 누나가 나 여기다 버린 거래.
엄마 아버지 꼭 오실 거다.
Oh man.
누나가 꼭 그렇게 만들 거야.
성기훈. 아는 사람 맞아?
성기훈.
예, 맞는 것 같아요. 저 그 사람 주소 좀 따주실 수 있어요?
밀린 월급 주세요.
God damn it.
내가 그거 몇 번 말하냐. 지금 돈이 없어.
제발요 돈 주세요. 6달도 더 지났잖아요.
아이 새끼가 진짜.
What do you mean, what's with you?
다음 얘기하자. 내가 좀 바쁘다.
Oh damn. Deserved it.
네 사정은 내가
But damn.
잘 알지. 맘먹고 튄 브로커들을 찾을 방법이 없디. 당한 사람이 너뿐이 아니야. 강 건너주는 비용도 많이 올랐고.
그래서 얼만데?
거기서 다시 남조선으로
Oh.
한 번 더 나 속이면 다음엔 무조건 네 목부터 떨 거야.
Did she take his money? How? How did she do that? Amazing. I'm wondering if they chipped them while they were asleep. Ooh. And why is it bloody?
जितना जल्दी हो सके सारा सामान बांध के आज ही यहाँ से निकलना होगा. समझी? मैं तुमसे बहुत प्यार करता हूँ.
Is it the old man?
자네 영감님도 이 동네 사세요?
아니야. 이 근처에 아는 사람이 있어.
영감님을 여기서 다 뵙네요.
Nice.
말이야. 우리가 인연이 있나 보네.
Huh.
안주가 없어서 어떡하죠?
너
다시 가기로 했어. 이렇게 죽을 날만 기다리다가 가고 싶지 않아. 여기가 더 지옥이야.
That says a lot.
네가 화요일까지
Oh, damn.
모을 수 있을 만큼 모아놔.
Oh, damn.
그 가면 쓴 새끼를 잡아 조져가지고 이 새끼들 금고 있는 대로 쳐들어가는 거야.
그게...
Wow.
근데 필리핀 카지노에서는 얼마를 날리신 거예요?
Oh, damn.
전기빵 하는 애들이 네가 빌린
Wow, betrayed.
네 간.
Kill him first. Shouldn't have gloated.
당신 진짜 너무한다고 생각 안 해? 당신이 뭐 나한테 위자료를 줬어? 아니면 애들 양육비를 한 번 준 적 있어? 그러니까 어떻게 나한테 또 손을 벌려?
당뇨가 심해서 수술까지 해야 된다. 우리 엄마가 그래도 너한테는 잘해줬잖아. 내가 오죽하면 너한테까지 왔겠니. 내가 꼭 갚을게.
그럴 돈 없어.
여보, 우리 왔어.
Yikes. His face fell.
일찍 왔네.
나도 올게.
왜 집안까지 들어오게?
미안해.
Oh, come on, man.
마트 갔다 오는데.
Wow.
뭐죠?
돈 필요하다면서요?
Don't do the pride thing. Take it.
제가 꼭 갚겠습니다.
안 갚으셔도 됩니다.
Wow.
대신
Leave us
우리
alone.
그분한테 다시는 안
Oh,
나타나겠어요.
man.
이런 식으로 부스 나타나시.
이 새끼가 돈이면 다 되는 줄 알아.
Oof. Oh, she went down. Oh, man. Oh, life is hell here. Time to go back.
성준 씨가 가지고 있던 명함 저희 형도 가지고 있었어요. 도와주십시오.
죄송한데요. 제가 지금 누굴 도울 수 있는 처지가 아닙니다.
That's true enough. There it is. Wow. What's this car? The police? The guy? The guy? Yeah, the guy! Oh. Well done. She's so freaking cool. She's so cool. Oh man. Number 67. Oh, she's so good. So good. That little bit at the end there where she pretends to get knocked out is really compelling. And I think a lesser show would have skipped right past this episode and gone straight from the first game into the second, but this is no lesser show, and it's really taking its time to let us become more attached to these characters, which I really appreciate. And in the first episode, they put these characters in a ridiculous situation that's really compelling, but then for the second episode, they pull them out of it to show that they're in just as ridiculous a situation outside of those games. And yeah, letting them go really let all of that sink in for us and for the characters as well. So this time, everyone goes back knowing what they're getting into somewhat. But yeah, some of us in the audience must have wondered just how the vote was so close, tied at 100 before the old man cast the final vote. But yeah, following our main characters back outside really showed us why they were so desperate, and it really levels the playing field. Everybody's coming back in with a desire to come back in. Everybody's coming in to defy death and make that money, or they came back because they don't feel like they have a choice. And I think if I was in that voting situation, for me, the ethical choice in my mind would be if a single person votes no, I would have to vote no as well, because every person can decide for themselves if they want to risk their own lives, but they shouldn't get to decide whether to risk the lives of others. With that being said, if I was in the same place of desperation that these other people are in, I might not go with what I think is the ethical option. And The last time in the commentary, I mentioned the IQ thing. The more dire your situation, the lower your IQ gets. So we see that happen in this very episode. Everyone wants to leave until they're shown just how much money is in that piggy bank, and they get desperate. Their mind is not working as it should for self-preservation anymore. And yeah, the state of the world forces people to make bad decisions constantly. And there was definitely a time when I would have considered risking my life for that amount of money. Even now that I'm in a much better place doing mostly something I really enjoy doing, I still take risks. Most people would consider my investments extremely high risk, but I do it anyway because nothing fundamentally changes if I lose the money that I've invested. I'm very lucky to now work for myself with YouTube and Patreon to support me. But even though I can easily afford to live on my own, finding a place to rent is so difficult because of New York City's income requirements. A freaking basement $1,200 studio wanted me to have an income of $60,000 a year. Safe to say I don't make that much, but if my investments pay off, I can just ignore that and just buy a damn place and, oh god, never have to hear my parents yell at each other again, have my own room for the first time in my life, some damn privacy, and finally get a good night of sleep for the first time in more than 2 years. Oh my god. Yeah, the point I'm trying to make here is that desperation can force your hand. They can make us make decisions we wouldn't ordinarily make. And I mean, like I said, I have it way better than anyone in the show does, so I'm not going to risk my whole damn life to better my situation. But the reason this episode is so compelling is because most of us understand on some level what these characters are going through because of our own experiences, our own moments of desperation. Which is a bit of an indictment on the current state of economic affairs in the United States, in South Korea, all over the world. I do think there is an amount of money that would make me take part in these Squid Games, though. This show's prize is 45.6 billion won, which is a little bit more than $38 million in American US dollars. I think $38 million is definitely life-changing, but not world-changing, so I wouldn't risk my life for life-changing money, but I would do it for world-changing money, though. I know from the people who have reached out to me that I've done a decent amount of good in my life, but I have a real frustration with my inability to affect larger scale change in the world. So if it was 45.6 billion in US dollars, yeah, fine. I wouldn't want to risk my life for it because I could die without experiencing so many things that I want to experience. But a 1 in 456 chance to change the world for the better and possibly keep that amount of money out of somebody who doesn't deserve it or who wouldn't use that money for good and might actually use it for evil, fine, I'll do it. I would take part. But yeah, really impressed by this show slowing down the action to really let us know what's at stake for all these individual characters. And they even have us slightly rooting for number 101. At the very least, I wanted to see him return to the game. I didn't want him to be taken out by that guy who betrayed him and the Filipino mob. And yeah, it was actually nice to see him kill that traitor. And then we have Cho Sung-woo talking about the consent form clause number 3. And today I learned that consent in Korean is the exact same as in Mandarin, 동의. Yeah, interesting that Cho Sung-woo is the one who brings up that consent clause, but then eventually votes to stay once he sees the amount of money in that piggy bank. Even the woman who was the first to plead to leave so she could go home to her baby that she didn't even name yet, she voted to stay in the end. And yeah, the odds are against them. They said there are 100 million won per person, so a total of 45.6 billion won split among those who remain. Question is, how many will remain at the end? Like, theoretically, all of them could have died in the first round, right? And I'm curious if there are games where it's possible that no one dies. Will there be games that shave it down to a certain number? And can you imagine playing musical chairs and the person who loses dies? Oh my god. But yeah, I wonder if this is a game that will only have one winner. I assumed that the person in the first scene of the series is the guy in charge here now. So he won the Squid Game when they were children with a couple of people on his team, like a total of 4. So will the final game be 4-on-4? It's either that or it's going to be 1-on-1, I feel like, so we'll see. And yeah, 101 votes to leave. He doesn't think it's worth it to stay, or he wanted to come back and rob this place. But that changes, of course, over the course of the episode. 67 votes to stay, and her reason for wanting to stay is super compelling. She got her and her brother out from North Korea, but her parents are still there, and she had some guy get some brokers to help them get out, only for them to run off with the money, which exploitative fucks, right? Just taking advantage of people who are so desperate like that. That's the whole world is like that. And we saw how brazen she was in the games, and yeah, now everything she does is seen through a completely different light, I think, based on her motivation. Um, I didn't get too good a look at everybody in the game, but other than the first two to die, I think 67 might be the youngest contestant. It's possible that she was younger than the first two, though I don't think so. It doesn't look like it, but I'm not sure. But the spryness that comes with youth might be an asset. Plus, she's bold and yeah, she's smart. So we'll see. I think she might be an early favorite. Though obviously the show is centered around Gi-hun, so he's probably going to win in the end. My question, though, which will be answered in the next episode, I'm sure, is if 101 people decide to start the game again, do the remaining 100 just get kidnapped and brought back again too? Because that's pretty screwed up. Because if that's the case, everyone is just going to be on edge their entire lives, waiting for them to come back. And yeah, I also really wondered if the game masters purposely went out and ruined their lives further to drive them back to the game. Doesn't seem like that's the case, but honestly, I don't know. But yeah, Gi-hun and 67 get dumped in the same place. I still don't know her name. But everyone we saw got dumped was in groups of 2, but it wasn't by location really, because 199 Ali wasn't dropped near his home at all. He was dropped with Cho Sung-woo, and Cho Sung-woo gave him some money for food, for transportation, got a charger so he could make a call. And yeah, he has some money on him. But I guess when you're 6 trillion in a hole, a couple of won, a couple 10,000s of won, isn't gonna make a difference. But yeah, interesting that the game masters only know about 600 million of his debt. He told Gi-hun that he got into like debt trading futures, and I don't really know the difference between options and futures. I know enough about the American financial system to know that there's a ton of corruption in the stock market. Those in power manipulate the whole thing to make themselves rich. They purposely bankrupt companies that are publicly traded. Bezos uses his hedge fund pals to squash his competition, things of that nature. But I actually don't know all that much about futures. I know they're different from options, but my first thought when I heard the $6 trillion won loss, the first thing I thought about was that Cho Sung-woo shorted GameStop, and it'd be really funny if that was the case. But yeah, I think he might be a dark horse in this race. He's highly intelligent, obviously. First one to remember the third consent forum clause, so he's calm in the face of danger. And yeah, calmly but firmly said in a crowd of panicking people, just he's not afraid to stand up. And yeah, intelligent, like I said before. So I don't know, he graduated from the top school and all that. So yeah, I think outside of maybe 67 and the number 1 like old man, he was the calmest out of any of the contestants, which definitely provides an advantage. And then we have Ali, man, working in that warehouse, owed 6 months in back pay. God damn. And I mean, the guy is clearly exploiting his labor because he's an immigrant, I guess. Though he's lucky enough that he speaks the language at least. I honestly would have been okay with him beating down his boss for the money, but should have done it in the office. Unfortunately, it becomes a struggle in a public area, and the guy's hand is crushed. That was so brutal. And then Ali just had to take the money and run. There were no good options left, so he just had to take the best bad option, and now has to get his wife and his child out of the country and go back into the game to make enough money to pay off the authorities, evade the authorities. I don't know. Yikes, man. Yikes. But yeah, I've barely even talked about Gi-hun. He arrives home to find his mother in the hospital with diabetes, and damn, I was even like, hey, at least healthcare is free at the point of use in South Korea, but he stopped paying for health insurance. Oof. Big oof. And you can't do that with an elderly family member. And he winds up begging his friend for money. His friend, I don't know if he had the money or not, but even if he did, he knows he's not getting it back, so he can't do that, especially not without consulting his partner at least. And then Gi-hun runs into the old man, which, what are the chances of that? Seriously. And he says maybe they were meant to meet. I wonder if he tracked him down somehow. I don't know for what purpose, but he eventually says he wants to go back in. And he says that what the pink hoods said was right. Life out here is more tormenting. And that's the thing, right? He recognizes how bad it is out there. And instead of, like, the game master, the person who set this all up, he recognizes how bad it is out there for everybody. And instead of using his clearly massive wealth to help fix society, he made this game for his own entertainment, right? So just freaking rich people. Ugh. But the fact that Gi-hoon ran into number one, this old man on the street, and he's talking about how it's such a bad situation for himself out here, kind of blows a hole in my theory that maybe he's played this game before and won, and that's why he's so calm playing it again. But yeah, he didn't like this game master, this person who set this all up. He didn't cause the problem, but he's definitely not doing anything to fix it. But it says so much about where we are as a society now that this death game offers the tiniest bit of hope for a better future. And that's the difference between the game and real life. In real life, there is no hope, and that's so sad. But yeah, Gi-hoon goes to beg for money from his ex-wife. Apparently, her husband kind of treats her like shit, just giving her a tiny bit of like living expenses to. I can never get over that. Like that still seems like the norm in some places, and it's just so frustrating to me. And like I get in different cultures and whatnot, but screw that. And then the new husband offers money to Gi-hoon in exchange for him never seeing his daughter again, which is just wow, that is bad. And I'm not sure if he knew about Gi-hoon's mother's condition, but if he did, using the desperation over his mother's illness to try to bargain him out of ever seeing his daughter again, that is really shitty behavior. And Gi-hoon punishes him only for his daughter to see. God damn it. And she's too young to understand the situation that her stepfather was trying to put him in. And yeah. And then we have that one last storyline, the brother of the second guy to die. I actually momentarily forgot that he died because so much happened in that last part of the episode when everybody was just dying that I kind of forgot that he died. And yeah, this brother overhears Gi-hoon's interaction with the police and then sees Gi-hoon's card, then his own brother's card, and so he's following Gi-hoon to the games, maybe to the island. We'll see if he's able to follow them that far. But yeah, meanwhile, next episode we will most likely have another game to play next time. That's going to be a lot of fun, I guess. This series is really good though. Looking forward to whatever sick twisted stuff that comes next. But yeah, leave a like, really helps out the channel. Full reactions are on Patreon in the link in the description below. I ran into a little bit of copyright issues, so we're actually much further ahead on Patreon. I think we're up to episode 4 now. The full reaction is up there, so check that out. Yeah. But yeah, leave a like, really helps with the channel, and I'll see you guys next week with more. Bye, friends.